What if Naruto was a tailed beast part 1? Let's go. Long ago, Hagoromo, the sage of the six paths, made a prophecy that stated that a warrior would arise from the tailed beast and save the world from evil. The prophecy was never shared with anyone. It lived and died with Hagoromo. However, it was relived with Naruto, born son of the tailed beasts. More specifically, Naruto is son to Kurama the Nine-Tailed and Matatabi, the Two-Tailed. Naruto was born a while before the canon time that we are used to, at a time where all nine-tailed beasts were gathered together and lived together. It was a time of peace. But shortly after Naruto was born, war broke out, and the tailed beasts were used as weapons of mass destruction and more, to subjugate and terrorize the people, especially those who had no shinobi powers. Naruto luckily, however, had a few years to live with the tailed beasts, mostly with his mother and father Matatabi and Kurama, but shortly after he was born, he also got the blessing of all the other tailed beasts. Of course, Shukaku was the most stubborn one of them all, but slowly but surely, all of them seemed to have a closer connection through Naruto, and he became like a child to them all. Some treated him as their nephew, some as a little brother, but he became part of the family and part of the tailed beasts. Naruto now had at least a little bit of all of the tailed beast chakra, and therefore he seemed to have some part of the Sage of Six Paths chakra, as he was the creator of the tailed beast, and combining all of those got Naruto even just a little closer to what he knew as his grandfather. However, he never got to meet him. Then, as previously mentioned, war broke out, and the tailed beasts were ripped from another and used in combat. First, only one or two of them, then more and more. And then Naruto seemed to be all alone, until Kurama was the last one to leave, being used as Madara's weapon against Hashirama and the Leaf Village. Madara being one of the most fearsome shinobi and warriors at the time, only matched in power by Hashirama, the founder of the Leaf Village. Naruto, however, went into a deep slumber for a very long time, as he was still rather young, at only the age of 5 years old. Being left alone with no family, he slept and continued to sleep for a very long time. First, it was days, then weeks, then months, and even years passed before Naruto would wake up. All of the tailed beasts were distributed between the 5 main shinobi villages, and scattered across the world. When Naruto woke up, he seemed to be in the middle of nowhere, and had only his instincts to go by, so he tried to sense for his parents or any of the tailed beasts. The closest one being his father, Kurama, who is not more than a few days of walking away. His chakra, of course, being the biggest and strongest, he was the easiest to sense. And he was the closest as well. So that was really good, and came in favor for Naruto. So he slowly but surely walked towards Kurama's chakra signature, which seemed to be in 2 different vessels. Or, if anything, even more. Now, Naruto at this point is basically a small version of Kurama, is what his looks are like. And with a little bit of flames from Matatabi, and more of a purplish color, as that's what happens when blue and Kurama's reddish-orange mix. But he's really cute. However, he knows that going into a human territory, he would have to change his appearance, as he would be persecuted. He thinks of a disguise that he can make, perhaps use some leaves to make a hat or something like that, as he is able to walk on 2 feet like a human, which he thinks is already pretty good for this disguise, but it wouldn't be enough. So there seemed to be a click in his brain. Later he would find out that this was Hagoromo, giving almost like a blessing to Naruto, his grandson, to enable his way for his actual life to truly begin. Hagoromo had been watching over Naruto as he still had his chakra apparition, almost like a ghost, watch over the planet, the Earth, and the shinobi villages. So Hagoromo enabled Naruto to change into a demi-human form. This is also made easier with Naruto having some more of Hagoromo's chakra, as once again, the Tailed Beast's chakra all mix into Hagoromo and kind of the Ten Tails, but a lot of Hagoromo's chakra as he made the Tailed Beast. So Naruto is a little more like Hagoromo than a single Tailed Beast would be. So now his looks are more like a canon Naruto, with his head that of a normal human, his ears still with a little fur on them, and his hair is kind of like Kurama's orange or red, but more of a darker color. However, his hands and feet are that of normal humans, so he won't be noticed or stand out that much. So if he wears a hat, for example, he should be more than fine and not stand out at all. Naruto makes his way to the human territory where he sensed his father, and arrives about 3 days later. There he sees a huge wall, a clear barrier between the wildlife, the forest, and the village he saw in front of him. He walked through the gate, though was questioned by 2 guards. He wasn't sure exactly how to communicate, as the Tailed Beasts had more of a paranormal way of communicating, as they were able to talk with their minds instead of having to open their mouths like normal humans. They could redirect their thoughts into other people's minds, including the other Tailed Beasts. So Naruto never had any experience with talking, though for some reason he was able to understand the guards and their human language, and signaled that he was not from around here. They were a little curious about where he had come from, as there's not really any village for at least a few days away, so it was very suspect. They brought him to the Hokage, and everything seemed fine. Important message, the Hokage is actually Minato, the 4th Hokage who currently is still alive. Yes, the Nine-Tails attack did happen over 5 years ago, but Minato survived it. You're wondering how? Well, I got the answer for you. Well, Hagoromo played a big role in it, as he saw that Kurama was gonna be used to attack many of Hagoromo's descendants, including the Uchiha and Hyuga clan, and then later even be used to make the Ten Tails once more, as Hagoromo has an ability to somewhat look into the future. Not completely, but he can predict very accurately what happens, and he saw Kaguya being revived. And he did not want that to happen, as he didn't know of anyone that could actually beat her, or even beat the Ten Tails alone. So he actually helped in sealing Kurama into Minato, but Minato actually split Kurama, or rather was going to, until Hagoromo did it for him. He helped basically revive Kushina as she was on the brink of death, and then led the chakra of the Nine-Tails into a young boy, the son that was just born to Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Of course, a tiny bit of the Nine-Tails chakra had to be put back into Kushina for her to survive long term and not just a few hours, but a lot of it was put into Minato's son. However, he also took a little bit of it as he didn't want to put too much burden on his son. So everybody survived, and then that day would be known as the day of the Nine-Tails attack, where the 4th Hokage's son was made into a Jinchuriki and was even born in the first place. Naruto didn't explain much, though he did say that he was from basically the forest, from the wilderness, and seek refuge inside the village. Minato was a little bit suspect of Naruto as he did have quite a bit of chakra. We're talking a lot of chakra, as Naruto didn't really know how to suppress it at the time. So Minato thought that it was a trap or somebody pretending to be a young boy, but Naruto seemed to be sincere and honest and very innocent, which is why he was allowed to stay in the Leaf Village. After being granted a temporary apartment for now, Naruto lived in the Leaf Village for a few days, always tracking his father's chakra until one day he met his father, or rather his Jinchuriki, on the street. They faced each other off, so Naruto was alone, now starting to cry, begging for his father, whilst Minato's son was with his friends, about to go to a playground. His name was Mitsumori Namikaze, the 4th Hokage's son. As Naruto and Mitsumori were now staring at each other into their eyes, Mitsumori not knowing what was going on, and had never even met Naruto in the first place. By the way, Naruto is just called Naruto to keep it canon, and the name was given by Kurama, the 9-tailed beast, even through the many seals that were put onto his control of the Jinchuriki, was able to push through due to his strong emotions and love for his son. And Mitsumori's eyes changed into red slit-like eyes, and his voice changed to a deep tone. "Hello there, my son. I'm so happy to finally see you once more. It has been quite a while, for me at least." As Mitsumori now started crying, though really it was just Kurama. And Naruto continued to cry as well. "I miss you so much." Naruto started whining, and Mitsumori's friends were really confused. "Naruto, my child, you should not tell anyone that you're my son for now, and only reveal it to the ones you trust. But even then, be careful, as people might try to hunt you down or capture you for military gain. So just be careful, please. I'll try to stay by your side as much as possible, and I hope that you're able to become friends with the one who became my Jinchuriki, as well as his father, who is the leader of this village. And I truly hope that you meet the others too, especially your mother. We have both been hoping for the day that we see you again for many, many years now." Naruto stopped crying and now seemed happy. He gained hope and wanted to befriend the villagers and the people inside, even though, yes, they had done much harm to the tailed beasts, especially his father. So he was gonna befriend them, love them all, and be the bridge between tailed beasts and humans, monsters and villagers, and hopefully strive and fight and long for peace that hadn't been seen in the world for many, many years. So now Kurama let control of his body over to Mitsumori again, and nothing seemed to change. Naruto went into a neutral, emotional state once more, and it's as if this interaction never happened. Though Naruto tried to integrate himself into Mitsumori's friend group, and they became rather close. Minato of course knew this, and Naruto became somewhat known amongst the villagers. Not as anything bad, but not really as anything good either. He was basically an outsider. He was just known as an orphan. However, he was friends with the Hokage's kid, which is at least something. Now we'll skip over 3 years, as it is now time to enter the academy to become a shinobi and fight for what's right. It's been Naruto's dream ever since he entered the Leaf Village, which is why he has actually started somewhat training. Of course, he has incredible chakra potential, and so he started trying to control some of it. At first, doing anything, even as basic as trying to tree walk, he broke an entire tree as there was simply too much chakra for him to handle. But after a few weeks, he was able to control his chakra. However, this chakra control of his seemed to move over to basically anything that he did, so whilst it did take quite a while to learn a basic skill like tree walking, once he learned it, he was basically a master of it, which was definitely an upside. So, once he learned something, he was very, very good at it. So he just had to take his time, and he would be much better than everyone else. Now Naruto entered the academy, as he was seen off by Minato, who he had come to see as his human father, as Minato did like Naruto as well. They of course by now knew that Naruto seemed to be not quite human, and did have animal-like features, but they never dared to ask, and Naruto didn't share anyways, so they didn't really care about it though. Naruto and Mitsumori entered the academy, as they sat by each other, along with Sasuke. Those three were the most popular three boys, and at least in the eyes of the girls in the class, the most prettiest too. But that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace! Also, massive thanks to 9,000 subscribers.